All right, so this is a video, honestly, that's been a couple years in the making. I've struggled for a very, very long time about how to approach publicly talking about the Amazon FBA guru or the Amazon celebrity echo chamber, where a lot of the personalities, ideas, and strategies in the space come from that a lot of new and even mature sellers seek for information. Now, I'm not trying to be controversial with this video, but there's definitely gonna be some inconvenient truths that may piss some people off. I'm not trying to throw rocks here, but I wanna share some thoughts on how you can really filter information and understand how to choose the right strategies, information, and path for your journey. This is gonna be a fun one. Let's get into it. All right, guys, what is up? This channel is Heist, and for the better part of the last couple of years, I've really used this as a forum for me to share my ideas on how I've built primarily physical products, e-commerce businesses on the Amazon FBA channel. Now, because I've become public and because you get subscribers and views and it builds up over time, you become seen as a source of information for the industry, for other people that are either just starting out or scaling, growing, or have mature brands that they're looking to take to the next level. And I gotta say, man, like in addition to just hitting power on these videos and talking into a screen, into the ether, it's a super unnatural and uncomfortable experience, I think, for most of us, me for sure. And the reason I did it originally was, like a lot of us, when I started thinking that this e-commerce thing and Amazon FBA specifically may be a vehicle for me to kind of break out of the corporate game and live life on my terms. So when I did that, Ryan Daniel Moran's 0 to 1 million video is one that had a pretty big impact to kind of kickstart things.
This is the 80-20.
And then the snowball kind of built. Some people I followed a lot early on in the game was Nomad Millionaire, Miles Dumphy. Tom Wang was another one I drew inspiration from. And like most of us, you kind of just dive in for hours and hours and hours to understand what this Amazon thing's all about. I bought tons of different courses to try to learn and up my game, and then just went out and started building my own stuff in addition to working my normal 9-to-5 corporate executive job. And then the pandemic happened. And all of a sudden, I'm not going out to eat, you know, all those things that you would normally do. You have nothing but time on your hands. And I'm like, you know what? As much value as I've gotten from that, and I really wouldn't have been where I am today without that information that people publicly shared, and I'm super appreciative of it. Same thing with the courses I digested, but there was something missing. It was very much like a shiny toy thing. People had the crazy thumbnails and the cars and the screenshots and the money. And as I dove into a lot of this content, you know, 90+% of it was frankly crap. It was surface level, it was disingenuous, and I always felt like there was an angle. Everybody had a freaking angle. So I'm like, you know what? I don't know everything, but I'm gonna flip this damn camera on, do the weird thumbnails, talk into a camera, and share my story, use case studies, etc. That's how I kind of got started in this. But as I kind of started slowly, you know, I'm almost 2 years into my journey now, kind of being a public facing figure in this space, I've started to really see what a lot of things are like behind the curtain, and I've struggled a lot with how to talk about those, because I'm not a negative guy. I don't like to kind of throw rocks over at people and kind of create negativity or drama within the industry. But at the same time, I see a lot of people seeking these Amazon FBA gurus, the people that you see on podcasts, the people you see with YouTube channels, people you see speaking at conferences, the thought leaders of the space. And I had that same feeling like this is gonna hurt a lot of people. Not that those people had malice and they're looking to scam people, I'm not talking about that kind of a thing, but there's people early in their journey or in the middle of their journey or even scaling in their journey that look to these people as truth seekers with the right information that's gonna unlock it for them and change their lives. And the sad reality is that that's not gonna happen. A lot of these folks don't practice what they preach. A lot of these folks have different intentions than just helping people. A lot of these people don't have the information, advice, and tools that is gonna really help your average Amazon seller and even your experienced Amazon seller find the success that they seek. And so while the information democracy of the internet, YouTube, blogs, podcasts can be an incredible source of information, can also be incredibly dangerous if you look to these Amazon FBA gurus, you look to these Amazon celebrities as the ones that have all the answers. And by the way, I'm talking about myself in this example too. Everything I talk about in this video applies to me too. So let's dive into it. I'm gonna, for the first time ever, publicly talk about the 4 sad truths that I've discovered in my journey and some of the warning signals I think every person that's consuming information on the internet about Amazon FBA needs to know. So sad truth number 1 is the fake Amazon guru is not the person with the Lambo and all that flashy stuff and YouTube ads. We've heard about that for years, and it's easy to kind of look to this hyperbole or caricature and say, yeah, that's an Amazon FBA guru, they're fake guru, they're a scam, I'm not gonna pay attention to them. Frankly, that stuff's common sense, and you shouldn't fall for that stuff because you can smell it and see it a mile away. But in my view, the Amazon FBA gurus that are the most dangerous have a lot more nuance, and they're way less obvious. So if you think a fake Amazon guru is just that flashy person, that's not the case. That's sad truth number one, is that the people and information that may harm you may be less suspecting than you think. The second piece is the people that you know and trust, that you see all the time, they may be less actively successful selling on Amazon than you think. I'm not trying to say that none of them are actively successful. There certainly are some that are. I'm not trying to say that some of them didn't at some point find success on Amazon. It's very rare from what I've seen, people that are actively implementing, executing, and building businesses with the information and the ideas that they share publicly. It sucks and it's a bummer, but that's the truth as I see it. The third sad truth is that the famous Amazon speakers that you see at a lot of these conferences, they're trying to sell you something. Here's how this works, because I've obviously spoken at a number of conferences now and kind of understand behind the scenes how things work. Typically, you've got somebody that's putting on an Amazon event and they want to draw as many big names as possible as speakers because that's going to sell tickets. The other thing that these promoters want to do is they want to have sponsorship because they're not going to make as much money on tickets as they are from sponsorship. So a lot of these people fork down 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 to be a sponsor, and with that they actually want to speak at the event as a quid pro quo for that sponsorship dollars. And really there's not a lot of incentive to speak at an Amazon conference unless you're selling something. Typically what happens is it's an agency owner looking to sign up more clients, it's somebody selling software that wants more people to sign up, or it's somebody like me that wants to sell more courses to monetize that. And they're not gonna have a speaking fee. You know, this isn't like the famous Tony Robbins type tours where you're gonna command a lot of dollars, you're not getting paid.
Cleaning the toilet, who likes to have someone else be able to do that if at all possible, right? Because once you do that, those drudgeries are gone. What do you get to do? You have time, and with time, you can spend more time with your passions.
And so a sad truth is that the people that you see publicly speaking at these events, while they may be happy to share some nuggets and help people, I'm not trying to say that they're disingenuous in that way, but their ulterior motive is likely to monetize it in some other way. And so a way that I've kind of filtered this is I literally only go to events in cities and places that I've never been to or that I really want to visit, or if I know that there's people there that I really want to hang out with and get to know. Amazon conferences can be great to learn, they can be great to network, but you got to read between the lines and understand the people that are speaking at the events and why they may be speaking at them. And the fourth sad truth, which is again in line a little bit with the second sad truth, which I talked about, where a lot of them are not actively selling on Amazon. Some of these Amazon celebrities and Amazon gurus actually have really successful Amazon businesses. They may be scaling into 8, even 9 figures. They're not bullshit. They actually have results and success to show for it. But the problem is that when you start out building a business, you're typically a solo entrepreneur. And then as you scale into the high 6 figures, low 7 figures, you bring on VAs. As you scale into the mid 7 figures, you build a small team. As you get into 8 figures and beyond, you get further and further and further away from the actual operations of a business, such that you're not even really in the business anymore. And so a lot of these people are talking about advice from when they were in the business 2, 3, 4 years ago, but they're not actively running pay-per-click campaigns. They're not actively launching products. They're not actively managing their inventory. They're on the outside looking in, leading their business as they should. But what that means for you, if you're consuming their information, is that you're in your chapter 1, 2, or 3, and you're consuming information from somebody that's in chapter 10 that hasn't been in chapter 2 for years. And that can be incredibly dangerous. So what do you do about it? Who do you listen to? What do you actually implement into your business from these people that are out there? Well, I've thought through some red flag frameworks just for you to think about some things that you can put people through a filter. You can put the information through a filter before you consume and implement it. And again, this applies to me too. I'm not trying to say that I'm immune to this. Obviously, I'm publicly facing. I may have some fallacies too, but every person that you consume information through, you should think about these red flags. So the first red flag, are they actively implementing and executing the things that they're speaking about in their business? Oftentimes you'll find that they're talking at a very high level about things that they know about, but may not actually be in the trenches doing. Or it may be things and strategies that they used 2, 3, 4 years ago when they're building their business that aren't applicable now because it's such a dynamic environment. So red flag number 1, you need to ask yourself, is this somebody that I think is actively implementing and executing these things into their business? Red flag number 2, and I know some people aren't gonna like this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. This is again my personal opinion, but I think if somebody's speaking at more than 1 event a quarter, you need to put your radar up. 3, 4 events a year, yeah, I mean, I could speak at probably 3 events a year. I could find 3 cool places I wanna go, some people I wanna catch up with. Again, I think conferences are a good thing, but if you're on the road once a month, if you're speaking at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus conferences a year, you've gotta ask yourself, is this person actually running a business, or are they just a professional Amazon speaker? Or are they using the speaking speaking scene to sell some other thing that's not actually associated with scaling a physical products brand. You really need to think about that. Just because someone's popular and you see them a lot at events doesn't mean that it's information that you should take on without a filter. The third one is the primary focus or income, either or, focus or income, building an agency, building a software company, or selling an Amazon course. If that's their primary focus, that's where they put a lot of their energy and attention to. That's where they get the majority of their income from. You've got to kind of put that information through a filter and be like, okay, hey, is this person in my shoes building and scaling a physical products business in the same chapter that I am? It's not to say that an agency owner or a software company or somebody who's built, sold, and now sells Amazon courses doesn't have anything to share. They probably do. But their perspective and their intentions are going to be completely different. If I'm a pay-per-click agency and I'm pitching you and talking about pay-per-click, yeah, I want you to understand pay-per-click and I want to share my wisdom with you, but I want you to sign up as a client. If I'm showing you all the bells and whistles of my software platform and how it can help and scale your Amazon business, it very well may do those things, but they want you to sign up for the software. And I think a really related topic to this is skin in the game. Is this somebody that's putting down their own money, their own savings, their own retirement, their mortgage on the line, buying POs for physical products? Is this somebody that's using their own money to launch products? Is this somebody that's using their own money to test pay-per-click strategies? Is this somebody that's using their own money to buy all the numerous software programs that we need to run a business? If that's not them and they're not in your case, again, keep an eye out and be aware of the source of the information and the focus of where that person's intentions may be coming from. The next red flag is this somebody who has recently, and when I say recently, within at least the last 3 months, built, scaled, and launched products in a similar way that I want to build and scale products. I'll use an extreme example. Let's say you've got an 8-figure seller and they're killing it and they're going to launch a $200,000 supplement a month. That strategy may work for them and there may be nuggets in it. For the person that's just starting out, dropping 10 grand on their first product, it may not be relevant. Similarly, if this person's built a business that's kind of scaled over the last 4 or 5 years and you're looking at the results thinking, hey, that's what I want to do. Well, is that just based on a hero product that they launched 3 years ago and that's the bulk of their business, but they're not actually actively finding success launching products in today's Amazon? Again, you got to ask these questions. And then the final one, and this is one that really kind of gets under my skin a little bit, is do they only share the good news stories? Do they only talk about the things that are going great in their Amazon business? Do they only share peak sales figures from like November, December, and then they're oddly quiet for the rest of the year until the next Prime Day when there's a big spike or until there's the next Q4? And this is one of the reasons why I really stopped sharing screenshots, because number one, I actually think that they're demotivating as much as they are motivating. They're used as a sales tactic to bring somebody in. It makes other sellers feel inferior and it makes it think like, hey, all these other people have it figured out, but I don't. Well, let me let you in on a little secret. Nobody has it figured out. Nobody has only good news in their business. Nobody has all high growth months in their business. Nobody has record sales all of the time. It just doesn't happen. And so if you're getting your information from somebody that only shares the good news, only shares those peak screenshots, red flag, ding, 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 you may want to be concerned. And that's again why when I'm talking about math and figures and revenue, I like to use them in an example of an actual case study. Like, here's an actual situation where we launched a product. Here's how the numbers broke down. Here's how we tried to turn an ASIN around. Here's the actual numbers. I like to stay away from those macro numbers, especially during peak good news seasons, because I think it's dangerous. It sets a bad precedent and it makes others in the industry think that that's how it always is when it's not. So in closing, please, please, please run any information that you digest on YouTube, on podcasts, at conferences through a filter, and run those people that are sharing those ideas through a filter, including me, by the way. Take the nuggets, because they do exist, that apply to you and your business right now, not 3 years ago, not from where you're going to be when you scale to mid-7 figures. Things right now in your business that you can take those nuggets only. In most cases, you'll learn a heck of a lot more from running your own experiments, your own tests, and figuring things out by executing and doing and taking action than you will by consuming information from people that may not be relevant for you. And then finally, just be careful, use common sense, and trust your gut. And again, I may not always be right, guys. I may have it wrong sometimes, and I may have it wrong in some of this video, but I wanted to be transparent. It's something I struggle with a lot because I see a lot of people get hurt, and I wanted to be open and honest, not to bum people out, but to help empower people to take their business to the next level. If you've put me through the filter and I've passed all the tests, maybe we'll see you when we drop a video next Monday, which is going to be the Keyword Masterclass 3.0, which I'm super, super excited about. And maybe there's some red flags that threw up on that. So just take the nuggets that work for you and discard all the other bullshit that I say too. So till next week, guys, it's been awesome having you. Cheers.